got a problem, you seem late, you explain. You think I'm fed up, shit with gay, fade away. My girls tell me to let you do the grave, but I ain't way too prideful, I can't do it that way. No.
Hey guys, I'm here with another video and I want to talk about how to direct a photo shoot. Being self-taught, looking at different videos, I really don't see much on how to communicate with your models, and I think it's such an important skill to have, and that there should be more emphasis placed on it for those of us that are just learning as we go, because it's just going to help everything go way more smoothly. I started off with self-portraits and then I ventured out with my friend and then, you know, more people and shooting, and a lot of times after I was done, I was like, you know, I didn't really convey what I wanted to through my photos, or I feel like my direction was unclear. Sometimes I would either like go mute, or like I couldn't properly convey what I needed out of my models, and it was like so frustrating. So I noticed that a lot last year, so my goal for this year was to work on my communication when I'm shooting. For me, I had to sit and think about how I best take successful photos, and that's, you know, knowing my angles and creating flattering poses. Seeing as I'm like thick and I got a tummy and everything, like I've had to work around that. So I think knowing like the best angles, the most becoming angles, it really helps for like bigger clients as well as smaller clients. And so I'm able to really help with the body and like having a background in dance and everything, helping people when they're unaware of you know, muscles that need to be engaged so they don't look like they're straining, or, you know, relaxing shoulders. And I get a lot of people that clench in their jaw, and I think people are not aware of that. So I do a lot of things with the body. That's something I would love to venture into more. I don't know if that's weird, but I would really love to, when I'm working with models, like start off with a stretch and everything like that, because even if you stretch at home and you're driving, you're rushing and you're trying to get in your head, and then you go to the shoot, sometimes you can still tense up. And I would love to be able to like have a connection with people where we do like a stretch, not anything like really deep or too time consuming, but I just think that would be so helpful, because you'll feel so much more grounded in your body, as well as like your movements will be more fluid. So I just do that like kind of here and there. Like I tell people, oh, shake it out, or, you know, stretch up to the sky and everything, because that helps so much. And I think that gets people engaged in their brain to connect to their body as well. When you say, hey, let's take a moment to breathe and stretch, they're like, oh yeah, my body. You know what I mean? And so when I am asking for a certain pose, that it can get done. Now, in my experience, there are, of course, so many different models, so many different ways that people work, but there's experienced models who will just start posing, you just snap. But then there's also models that need more direction. And I think anybody can take good photos. I'm a believer in that, because I don't consider myself a model, but I know how to get good pictures for myself. And so that's when I really work on like my communication the most, and you know, connecting everything back to the body and mind. So this past weekend I had a photo shoot, and I like to get behind the scenes, and so I was just like throwing my camera different ways just so I could like get, you know, just a little Instagram story, little tidbits and everything. But usually I just mute it and play music over it, but I was forgetting that I was recording, and then I was looking back and I was like, oh my god, Sydney. So I just improved so much, and I just had to share, because I was like, yo, this is a little something. Another big thing is giving encouragement. I think that like being mute is so uncomfortable. I had somebody shoot me recently, and like he wasn't saying anything, and so that can confuse people more than you think. Like to me, when I'm shooting, I'm in my zone. I'm like, they're giving me everything that I need, and that's why I'm not talking. But you need to give some type of thing, because I was literally like, you good? Like, it was so awkward, and I was like, I could have been doing well, but he didn't say anything to me, so I didn't know. So I think even if your model is doing well, I'll just say something like, oh my god, beautiful, can you hold that a little bit? Or I go, perfect, thank you, yes. Like, even if they're giving me great poses, it just keeps that, like, you know, I'm still here, I'm still present. And let's keep going. This, you can go ahead and step, and I'll do test shots, just test my lighting and see where we are. So I always give people a warm-up. A lot of times I can pretty much guess where my lighting needs to be. You always, of course, want to check, and so I let people know, like, hey, I'm just taking a couple test shots, and that helps them to get warmed up, like, oh, I don't have to be ready, but, you know, they're just, you know, looking at things. I think that helps a lot as well. And then I'll say, you know, oh, I got my lighting perfect, we're gonna go ahead and get started. I always just like walk people through because it just helps you with the process. Like I said, you never know how certain models will work, if they're like comfortable or not comfortable, or they are looking for your lead and direction. Especially if you're using your own vision, you're gonna have to lend the direction you're looking for. And then always use manners. I know it sounds crazy, but always be very, very mannerable. I'm just very just aware, hyper aware of that, just so I don't feel like you're my puppet or you're just my tool. Like, I want it to be an experience and like a collaboration. And so I just always make sure, can you do this? Thank you so much, or please. I don't know. I just really make sure to do that. So I put that in there because I think it's important to just guide the person and be like considerate about just like their bodies and what you're asking of them and everything. I'm a hand talker, as you'll see, so I just always make sure if I'm directing to move something, I'm, you know, showing you. And like I like to be a mirror as well, because some people are auditory learners, some people need to see, and I think using both is really helpful, and that's what we're going to get into next. If you're having a model balance in any kind of way on their feet, in a chair, and like different poses, I made it a thing to say, hey, we're about to do something on the edge of a stool, so I want you to be aware of, you know, your center, so that you're not like falling or straining. Because trust me, I've done it before. I was doing way too much on a stool and I was like, oh, this is good, but then I wasn't like breathing, I was crunched up and everything. And so I just like I said, through my own experience, through my tests and trials, I'm able to help others. I was just letting her know that like, hey, we're gonna do some things that may kind of like keep you off balance and everything, but you know, I was just like, as I said earlier, making her aware of her body. I used to have this problem in college. Like, I would choreograph things. Girl, I don't know what I was thinking, but I'd be like, yeah, do a leap and then spin and spiral to the ground, knowing daggone my number one, I couldn't do it myself. And number two, the timing was off. So that's something that's always like stuck with me. And so I make sure if I'm asking a model something that I can do it myself. And so that's another reason why I was mirroring, so then I could best illustrate, you know, how my body feels, where I want them placed and everything. So I'll just let this play. Can you kind of look down, just like using your legs like natural? Yeah, can you just come straight like forward to me? Yeah, just keep your legs like that and just kind of lean forward like this. And you can cross your hands that's like natural. Just like that. And but stand your first one. No, whatever is comfortable to you. Just make sure the shape. And I'm also like really lenient about like, oh, your left side or right side, because like typically models know their good side or like where they're stronger. Not everybody's like even and balanced in their body, and so I'm not like super huge on that if it's just like a casual pose. So I always like to push like whatever you're comfortable with doing, like in terms of your side or your angles or whatever. I want you to do that, but I want this shape. So that also helps them feel as though they have a say-so in the process. And again, I don't like that the dynamic that, you know, sometimes directors can give, and it's like, I expect this, and you can still expect something, but then consider somebody like as a human. So yeah, that's really all I had to share. A lot of it is, of course, just going to come with experience. As you continue to shoot with people, you'll figure out what people respond to and what helps them. And yeah, recently me focusing more on that this year, I've gotten like feedback from the people I've worked with that me communicating and directing them was really helpful, which makes me feel good, because I never want somebody I'm working with to be lost in any like aspect in how I work. And I make sure too that it's a learning lesson for everybody. So I had to shoot in the summer, and the client was kind of unsure on like how to pose so it was most flattering to her body. And so I was just saying, like, you know what's helpful if you want to hide your tummy, or if you want to do this to turn, you know, 3/4, to put your hands here. I was just really taking the time to stop and explain, so then next time she goes into a situation and maybe it's not me that's directing her, that she knows, oh yeah, I really liked how this picture came out when I did this pose, or I remember she told me this. So like, you leave the shoot and like learn something, you know what I mean? Especially because, like I said, in general, so many people are self-taught nowadays, and I think it's helpful if people are out there like explaining the whole process and what like a photographer is looking for from their perspective. So that's all. I hope that was quick and to the point, and that helped you out as you continue to explore and shoot with other people. Open your mouth, let your needs, your wants, your opinions be heard. It's just going to make everything better. You'll feel better. You'll feel more connected to your model. Your model will feel more connected to you, and you want to always create a safe, communicative, and just a vibrant environment so that you guys can create harmoniously. All right, I'll see y'all next week.
Cause I ain't one of them, it's okay, babe, I ain't one of them, but my side